I got in all these clubs in like a week, 2 weeks. Like, that's just reputation. Have you seen this kid? Have you seen this kid? I was like that dude. My mother and my grandmother were freaked out. You know, I was the first person in my family not to go to college that had not been a slave.
Right.
So I was really breaking from tradition. And it was like a graduation lunch we were having, and they had my dad come and talk to me, and my dad takes me outside, and he's like, listen, and this is some advice that applies to all you acting students. He says, to be an actor is a lonely life. Everybody wants to make it, and you might not make it. And I said to my dad, well, that depends on what making it is, Dad. He was a smart ass kid.
Yeah.
It depends on what making it is, Dad. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you're a teacher. I said, if I could make a teacher salary doing comedy, I think that's better than being a teacher. And he started laughing. He said, if you keep that attitude, I think you should go. He said, but name your price in the beginning. If it ever gets more expensive than the price you name, get out of there. Mm-hmm. Thus, Africa.
Yeah. Willmatic. Part of my microphone. If you hear that static, look. And I'm back with another episode, and I'm back. I'm about to rap. About to hit y'all with that boom bap. This ain't trap rap. Look, we ain't get enough hip hop this year. I'm mad. WILLMATIC. Willmatic TV. Appreciate you all for the pull up as usual. You already know what it is, man. I ain't gonna hold you. Listen, man. Episode 47, the last episode of season 2. Yeah, that's right. We have officially culminated season 2. But we ain't officially do it yet. You know what I'm saying? I can't even hit the air hole yet. You know what I'm saying? We gonna do that at the end of the episode. By the end of this episode, we will have officially culminated season 2. That's right. Season 2 is coming to an end. Episode 47. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I know what you're thinking. Like, didn't you just drop 3 days ago, fam? Yeah. Sometimes I'm on it like that, you know. I feel like, yeah, man, I feel like I took a little while to drop that last one, you know. I mean, if you listen to the episode, I kind of had, like, to say the least, an eventful week last week, right? I mean, I done quit my job, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here free agent again. Not for long, by the way, but you know. As far as the podcast, I'm definitely still a free agent. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all of the platforms, you know. The E.B.C.G podcast. I definitely would like to throw out there the fact that I am also now on Good Pods, which is a new, relatively new platform. You know, I kind of went over there, got some things set up yesterday. Yeah, man, E.B.C.G podcast, episode 47. It is 1:02 p.m. on the East Coast. Willmatic TV. I am definitely your host. Yeah, man, back to back on them. Like I said, once again, I'm not going to say that, you know, it's not that I wasn't pleased with my last effort. I just felt like, you know, I listened back to the joint and, you know, realistically, like I said, it was an eventful week last week. There was kind of a lot of different things going on, you know, between, you know, my little situation, my little kerfuffle, my mishap, you know, with my phone and that whole situation. I'm literally posting, you know, episode 46 snippets on my IG stories right now. I was just listening to the joint. And like I said, I feel like I had some good moments in that episode or whatever the case may be, but I just feel like, fam, my intro energy though. As a matter of fact, hold on, air home me up though, man. Let me get an air home for me. Like I said, once again, man, appreciate you all for the pull up. This is definitely the E.B.C.G podcast. And like I was saying, I just feel like, yeah, the energy, man. Episode 46, I kind of came in with like this low energy. I was kind of just like I said, I kind of got some, different things going on. As a matter of fact, it's so crazy how kind of everything will hit you all at one time. So obviously, I have a legal situation that I got going on. If you've been kind of tuned in and you've been kind of following along, I basically been kind of just keeping y'all abreast on that situation. Obviously, there's not much I can really say on the situation other than the fact that, I mean, well, the most recent update is, I basically, my lawyer contacted me. I'm literally in the middle of an editing session, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting there, like I said, I had just literally walked out of a job that was, paying me relatively good money. It wasn't great money, and it certainly wasn't enough money. And once again, something that I had to basically come to the realization is that I really will walk the walk, when it comes to, basically just morals and ethics. And, basically when it doesn't make sense, it just can't make dollars, is ultimately how that situation played out. It was just certain things I wasn't really comfortable with, things that I was seeing, things that I was hearing, different energy that was around me. So I basically removed myself from the situation, and yeah, I had to walk out of that, situation from a bag, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't even it was a convenient bag too. Like it was something that I could have literally kept doing, but it's just like, fam, at the end of the day, it's not really about the quantity, it's more about the quality, I try to, approach things with that mindset, not just when it comes to, obviously as a content creator, as a podcaster or a broadcaster or a journalist, you know, or really just any field that you're in. I do feel like, especially today, I feel like we see a lot more quantity and less focus on quality, you know, even when we look at music. And we're gonna get into some of that talk a little bit later. I definitely had to, like I said once again, and then it's just like, I came late with the episode, so unfortunately, it's kind of like things are overlap, and then other things kind of took place, and I felt like I couldn't sit for a whole week and not come back and hit y'all with the. It's a lot going on out here in these podcast streets, my boy. Yeah, yeah. And you already know E.B.C.G. I had to come in, you know, add my 2 cents to the situation on what's going on. There's a couple of little incidents that I want to get to. Yeah. High vibrations and salutations. Another episode 47. Everybody can't go. I'm flipping through these pages. This is the thing, right? I don't want to. I'm not gonna hold y'all up. I gave y'all 2 hours on the last joint. You know what I'm saying? And realistically, my last episode actually ended up becoming my longest recorded episode to date. Um, I feel like I just did that with episode like 44. And now it's kind of just like, I feel like I'm at a point now where like, yeah. You kind of just start figuring this, you figure it out. You just figure it out, You figure it out just like black people have been figuring it out for decades, centuries, generations. You know what I'm saying? We take the worst parts of things and we turn it into, y'all see where I'm going with it, right? Lemons into lemonade. Huh? Speaking of lemonade, what's up with Beyonce right now? I feel like we getting ready to get hit with some type of surprise album before this year is over. What we at, November 9th? I don't know, fam. There's already another damn update for this phone, fam. How many goddamn updates do I need, bruh? Salute to Dave Free for the follow request on IG. He could have followed me back, but you know what I'm saying? I only followed you. I sent Dave Free a follow request in like January of 2012 or something crazy, bro. I literally just got a follow request at 11:32 p.m. Low key, I feel like Kendrick low key seen the last episode or something, which, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm just, obviously that's speculation, but all I'm saying is this, fam. A Kendrick Lamar song title was definitely used I might be getting slapped with a lawsuit. This really was probably about to happen. I ain't even really do the math until now. Like, hold on, why is Dave free? What made him just randomly? Hey yo, man, check it out, man. I'm just a little old. Listen, the E.B.C.G fam. I'm just a little, you know. I ain't even really got no skin in the game yet. Like, y'all don't want to. I mean, I have a lawyer, so realistically, fam, after we beat this case, we might be able to. Yeah, man. I even bring that up, fam? I brought it up, but I didn't really like go into further detail. I was definitely in the middle of editing episode 46. I got a couple of calls from my lawyer, you know what I'm saying? Where they basically, prosecutor, reached out with a plea, you know what I'm saying? Two pleas. I turned on the first one. She said, all right, no problem, cool. She called me back in like 10 seconds with another situation right away that, was a little bit better than the first situation. So I said, you know what, fam? They playing with me right now. Right now, I feel like they trying to basically make me sweat. You feel me? They pushing shit back to December. My next court date is December 29th. And at the end of the day, fam, at the end of the day, what I'm basically saying is we just gonna have to, we just gonna have to have our day in court at the end of the day, fam. I'm not taking any plea deal. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like the situation, like I said, I've already been inconvenienced from the start. The situation really wasn't handled the way that it was supposed to, and now you trying to give me a situation where I'm basically admitting that I'm guilty. We not doing that. We not doing that. And obviously, there's a lot of we have more than enough examples of basically how that can turn into, basically a mistake in the long run. But at the end of the day, fam, when you gotta, sometimes you gotta just stand on your truth and your principles in the situation and allow that to just be what carries you through the situation, fam. I don't feel any fear when I'm standing on the truth at the end of the day. And that's really all I'm trying to say. And that's really all I can say. You know what I'm saying? That was me being really, really vague about my legal situation. So yeah, December 29th is my next court appearance. Obviously, we'll be keeping you all abreast on the situation. I might be in, nigga, it might be me and Taxstone, fam, on the yard with a new podcast for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about season 3. Taxstone. Yeah, unfortunately, we have some Taxstone news to get to in just a moment. But, let's slow walk the dog here because realistically, fam, it's been a few incidents that have taken place, over the past week. Like I said, once again. So let me get into this. Let's get into it. We got D1 versus Rick Ross. David versus Goliath. Huh? Now, this is the thing about this whole situation, right? Only for the sake of a podcast is the reason why I would frame this in this manner. In all reality here, D1 versus Rick Ross is probably minute or just basically the low hanging fruit. That's just, the easier way to kind of package and present this topic to the masses. The reality of the situation is D1 has kind of basically been taking a stance, right? So let me be more specific here, right? Before I even get into, because I obviously a lot of people are not gonna, Rick Ross is kind of the name that people are gonna recognize here for obvious reasons. D1 is a rapper from New Orleans, who is well known to a certain level. But obviously, there's levels to fame, and Rick Ross and D1 obviously are on two different levels when it comes to basically notoriety in the music industry, right? D1, they completely took two different routes in the music industry, right? So obviously, you know, their trajectories weren't the same. Rick Ross, we know what Rick Ross kind of stands on as far as, his moral compass and his code and, what I'm saying, everything that he's been promoting and pushing over the years. Rick Ross, obviously, like most artists, have passed before they were musicians and before they were artists. Rick Ross was somebody before he became who he is and who we know him to be today, right? He took a whole nother man's identity, is what he did. I mean, if we want to just really have that conversation, and this is just such an interesting situation for me personally because this couldn't have been we looking at two complete polar opposites when we talking about D1 and Rick Ross, right? Just everything as far as, rapping levels, rapping ability, rapping content, skill level, impact on the culture, message to the culture. These are two completely different individuals. D1, now I happen to know who D1 is. I want to say 2011, about 2011, 2012 is when I kind of really locked in and started to listen to this brother's music. And, the one thing that you kind of notice off top and right away was that basically he had a positive message, which I do feel like is refreshing. you know Obviously, yeah. We gonna turn up to certain records and, obviously music, vibrations, there's different effects that the music and the vibrations had. I actually was having this conversation and this discussion on one of my AMP shows. Shout out to AMP, RIP AMP, I should say. The app has officially been deprecated. But I definitely do still remember certain shows I did on there, and I definitely did have a show on there where I spoke on vibrations in the music and basically how, yeah, just the importance of kind of having that balance when it comes to just how we kind of take in this music, and it's powerful to say the least, right? It's very powerful. Music, obviously, the power of music. We're not, we kind of all know what that is. I feel like I'm beating around the bush a lot. I am. I am. I only say that to say that I've been following D1 since 2011, and I mean, he's one of my favorite artists. I'm gonna be honest. An artist who literally, I mean, this guy doesn't curse in his music, but somehow still can deliver verses in a way that is still engaging enough, with a positive message. And I mean, his messages are pretty straightforward, and he doesn't really hold back. Um, So yeah, like I said, you have certain artists who are going to use music to push a message that they feel like is positive or just important to them or important to the culture overall. Hold on. I need to drink some water, bro. Hold on, bro. I'm sitting here losing my breath and shit. What I'm basically saying is, D1 has always kind of been the artist who he's been as far as pushing and promoting positivity in the music and the lyrics. He actually has a song or a record or a track titled, J50 Wheezy, right? And this is actually the song, if I'm being honest, that I was introduced to D1 all based off of this video and this song. It was a video, I seen it, and it's a song, basically where he's writing a letter to Jay-Z, 50 Cent, and Lil Wayne. And, I mean, like I said, once again, this is an artist who doesn't, who basically doesn't take the easy way out with the lyrics. So for the most part, every song is kind of gonna hit you just for the simple fact that you're actually listening to a real message here. I mean, the guy did a song and wrote a letter to Jay-Z, 50 Cent, and Lil Wayne, where he basically pointed out certain contradictions that he felt like the music industry helped perpetuate and more or less kind of shine a spotlight on certain actions that those three artists in particular, right, use these three artists basically as an example to highlight, you know, just the contradictions within the culture and basically, kind of called out these artists to basically take it upon themselves to kind of take a stance and use their platforms to voice how they felt about the situation. He basically called them out, right? Positive verses and shit, right? Like he was doing a verses in a different way, right? He was on some like, I want to challenge your positivity. I want to see if you actually care about these young black boys and girls that's coming out of these communities that are bumping your music. Because at the end of the day, the impact, once again, the vibrations, right, are basically having certain effects. And, obviously we can't, support the cause and then be mad at the effect at the same time. Is basically, what the message is. It's actually one of his lyrics, and I seen him doing that, and he freestyled that on one who was that he was with. Shout out to Willie D, the Willie D podcast, whatever the name of that podcast is. Shout out to Willie D. You know what I'm saying? Ghetto Boys, Legends. He was on there, and I seen him spitting that. So I spent enough time introducing it, right? I feel like I kind of set it up enough. This is the thing, D1 and Rick Ross. I just feel like at the end of the day, like I said, once again, in a popularity contest, Rick Ross and D1 are not supposed to really be in the same sentence. And that's why this is just so interesting to me because it's just something that I never really thought, you know. So how did this even start? Obviously, like I said, once again, D1 has kind of been on this path, from since the time that I was introduced to him in 2011, right? Calling out artists and pointing out the contradictions in the actions of these artists. And it's at the end of the day, it's always about basically the youth. That's usually how the message ends. D1 was also a teacher, if I'm not mistaken. He was definitely a teacher because he raps about it enough, and I have enough D1 music that I consume, what I'm saying, to kind of know that he was definitely a teacher, right? I'm in pod mode, so pardon me. Like I'm basically trying to like put the information out there. I don't want to be like, I want to stay impartial here, right? I'm showing y'all my bias a little bit, but I can't really, it's not really, I can't hide the bias, man. D1, like I said, is an artist who I couldn't wait for D1 to blow up, if I'm just being honest. And low key, realistically, fam, I'm a little late with it, but god damn it, let's hit an air horn. Absolutely. Air horn for D1 for finally getting the moment where he can use it. I just feel like, how like certain artists will basically take advantage of a moment when it's something negative to promote. What I feel like D1 is doing right now, and what a lot of people are basically having an issue with, and we're gonna get into it a little bit further. He did an interview on Sway in the morning. Shout out to Sway, legend. Uh, and he's been on Sway several times actually. And anybody that watches a Sway in the morning interviews, you pretty much know that those are the interviews that you look forward to seeing your favorite artists on that platform in particular, because Sway just kind of has a way, not just Sway either, by the way, that whole cast, Sway, Tracy G, Heather B, Wonder, the DJ, you know what I'm saying, Five Fingers of Death. Sway's platform is one of the most genuine platforms that you're probably going to be able to kind of see. The way he kind of introduces the artist, his intros be like, you know what I'm saying, it just hit different when you sitting on this Sway in the morning show. So obviously D1 being a regular on the show, he has what it looks like is, what I'm saying, him and Sway actually have a relationship. So basically Sway, and we already kind of know that Sway's been doing this for years, basically giving the platform to the, basically the voice for the voiceless. That's what Sway in the morning that's kind of their whole, that's kind of what it's all about over there. So when you get an artist like D1, 9 times out of 10, he might use that moment to kind of say. Now, personally, I watched the interview, and I'm not gonna hold you. It didn't, not that it caught me off guard, because like I said, I know D1 to kind of be this individual. I listened to his music. I heard the J50 Wheezy. He did a J50 Wheezy part 1 and 2, right? Just so he could make sure y'all. I hope they hear me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He made sure they heard him because he did it twice, right? So he kind of been on this type of time, is what I'm saying. No surprise here when it comes to the message. What I wasn't anticipating was that he was going to actually call out specific artists. And I'm not going to lie, when I heard him say Meek Mill and Rick Ross, I said, damn, man. I just feel like just because of the timing, and obviously, Meek Mill and Rick Ross are currently on some kind of promo press one. Obviously, they're getting ready to drop a project. Um, Too Good to Be True, I believe is the title of that project. If I'm not mistaken, and they've been definitely out here on a promo run, pushing and promoting that album hard, right? So naturally, when any one of those two individuals' names come up in anything that's press related, obviously while you're on a press run, it's kind of almost like you kind of leave me with no choice other than to kind of add my 2 cents here. I'm on a press run. I'm kind of doing this right now. Like, if my name is circulating, and then obviously you got that whole, we don't really know who's behind the scenes and who's in whose camp as far as who can get into this artist's ear and basically perpetuate or mislead or, present something in a way to have an artist, because I say that because Rick Ross obviously responded to what D1 said on Sway in the Morning. Which what did he say? Did I even get into that? He didn't really say much. I mean, it was a long, lengthy interview. They spoke on a lot of different topics, a lot of different social issues, obviously, different things that are occurring in society. And then I'm not really even sure at what point he eventually just mentioned Rick Ross and Meek Mill and used them as an example as two artists who basically may be contributing to some of these issues that are basically taking place when it comes to our inner city youth. All right. More specifically, Meek Mill, who he kind of said, he didn't understand basically like how 1 minute you could be pushing and promoting, you know, reform and basically how are you going to be the face of social justice, but then at the same time you're promoting and perpetuating the very very acts that are basically bringing most of these young men and women, who look like you and who you can obviously relate to because you've been in this situation yourself coming out of Philly. You know what this music is doing. Who you used to look up to when you was in Philly and how that made you feel. And basically it's like you can't be, you know, the judge, jury, and the executioner. You kind of got to pick a side here, my boy. How you promoting violence and you speaking up for violence? Like, which one is it, fam? And realistically, fam, it's kind of like, yeah, realistically, yeah. Obviously, he made a good point, right? You can't really argue what he said there as far as, there is clearly a contradiction in that. And Meek Mill obviously has said himself. I remember when he first came out of prison, he said this shit. Like, don't get it fucked up. Like, I'm still that guy at the end of the day. I'm still gonna promote violence and whatever it is, because at the end of the day, that's my reality. That's what I seen when I was in. This is my reality, whatever the case may be. Now, there can be an argument made there. Obviously, I'm not gonna do it because I don't feel like it's my place personally. I feel like when we dealing with grown men, as far as like whatever identity it is that you feel like you want to portray and push to the masses, I do feel like that's ultimately on you at the end of the day. My responsibility is me and how I present myself at the end of the day, right? I can't really focus on Meek Mill and his contradictions when I have my own that I have to kind of. Now, what I can say is when somebody raises the point and kind of puts a magnifying glass over it, it does make you look a little funny in the light, man. I'm not gonna hold you, man. D1 got Meek Mill and Rick Ross out here looking funny in the light. Let's just get straight to it at this point, right? He got them looking kind of funny in the light. He kind of said something that, obviously Rick Ross, we could spend a whole episode pointing out the contradictions of Rick Ross, right? That could be a whole topic, everything, fam. I already see the cover photo I would use. It would be a whole. That might be the one that go. Is what I'm saying, right? I'm not gonna do that because it's kind of just like once again, it's not my responsibility to be worried about Rick Ross. I've had my opinions about Rick Ross over the years, and some of them have been documented on social media. If you just hashtag my name and then type Rick Ross, and you'll see certain posts. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know, man. Rick Ross, I've been on record saying that Rick Ross is probably my least favorite rapper. I mean, so the fact that it's somebody who I kind of already deemed to be like I already kind of the way I kind of compartmentalize this thing, like when it comes to just like hip hop music and artists and just like I kind of have my shit set up a certain way to where it's just like they don't really affect me unless I allow them to. You understand what I'm saying? I don't really care. Like I said, I only know that Rick Ross and Meek Mill they getting ready to drop an album. I know they getting ready to drop the album, and there's a good chance I'm not gonna listen to this album, fam. Just based off of what I've heard in the past. I've heard everything. I feel like everything that they gonna say on this album, I've already heard them say. And that's terrible that you can do that with artists, music basically, and they didn't even put the project out yet, fam. But obviously they have a track record. Certain artists you kind of already kind of know what's coming. Basically, it's kind of like, damn, homie, you could change up this message a little bit. So that was kind of what D1 was saying. Like I said, me personally, I don't really feel the need to, but can they do better? I mean, yeah, that's up for interpretation. Can D1 do better? Right? It's probably like what they thinking of themselves, like, yo, who is this guy coming trying to call us out? Fam, who are you? So now this is the whole conversation now where, and then even on the Joe Budden podcast, shout out to the JBP, they was having the conversation and the discussion, and I feel like they probably should have did their Googles a little bit more on D1, just a little bit more. I feel like Ish was kind of, he was speaking up on him and speaking in his defense because I feel like Ish knew him a little bit more than everybody else. But realistically, I don't really feel like they was calling him a podcaster, and I never seen D1 do a podcast. He should probably do one. He should start one now. I mean, David versus Goliath. I mean, I'm just saying, man. He was on Sway talking about basically how he's set for life already, which I was very, very pleased to hear that, to be honest. Because, like I said, once again, I discovered this artist back in 2011, and I kind of been following ever since. So I'm kind of aware of basically just the uphill battle it's been for artists who basically was trying to push positivity ultimately in an industry that thrives and um makes its money off of selling negativity, right? So usually artists like D1 get kind of ostracized, and sometimes you don't even really see artists with that message kind of have the longevity and kind of have the patience, really, because that's really what it is. You're going to hear it's going to be a lot of things that you basically don't want to see and hear when you take that route to try to, what I'm saying? So the fact that he was able to kind of figure things out to get into a position to where his music is still selling, he has his core fan base, what I'm saying? And he said he's set for life as far as financially. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe that's really the battery that was in his back on Sway. He probably felt like, fam, I don't even really need to sell another album. I'm not really sure what he figured out and how he figured it out, but realistically, D1 was a teacher, right? This was like he taught junior high school math, if I'm not mistaken, right? I know he was a teacher, right? He was in the educational field. This is somebody who actually stood in front of, he's a teacher at the end of the day, right? So it shouldn't be that surprising that he's able to kind of put two and two together, right? If he was a math teacher. Rick Ross is over there doing a whole different kind of math, right? We kind of know what he was doing before rap, and that's what makes this thing just that much more interesting, man. Obviously Rick Ross, he came and he responded. I feel like I'm going in circles here, so pardon me. I'm gonna have to edit this shit crazy, right? Because I feel like I don't really know how to like, I don't know how to like really even like how do you even close this out, bro? What should happen now, right? Joe Budden and them, yeah, they didn't do their Googles. D1 is definitely not a podcaster, guys. He's actually an artist. He's a rapper, which Joe Budden, who, you stand on your backpack. I mean, when he ready to, that's really more Parks, to be honest. Parks is more, I guess I'm more disappointed in Parks than anything. Like, Parks is like Mr. Backpack in my Jan Sport. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop, the crates. Like, that's really, I'm surprised Parks ain't, Parks did the, he definitely Googled it while they was sitting there having the conversation, and then he chimed in, like, yeah, nah, he makes music. But I don't feel like they was really aware and familiar with the music. And all I'm saying is this: do your Googles on people before you come on and have an opinion. Rick Ross coming, his response was basically a typical Rick Ross response. It's what I expected him to do, was basically try to take a serious situation and make a complete mockery and joke out of it. It's basically what you've done with your whole entire career, fam. You know what I'm saying? We didn't expect you to kind of try to, we didn't expect, I wasn't expecting an intellectual, intelligent Rick Ross reply. You understand what I'm saying? In fact, what he did with his reply was what he ultimately is, he's confirmed. He confirmed everything that D1 said on the Sway interview, and that's kind of just where we sit with it now. Now D1, like I said, I feel like he's trying to do the reverse effect of how they kind of, use this industry to kind of push and promote the negative shit. D1 doing lives every day now on the hour, every hour on the hour. D1 going live on Instagram. He got his kid books, all his positive shit, his fucking incense and shit, whatever he got going on, fam. He got that shit right in the lens of the camera, and I don't blame him, fam. Hell yeah, I'm gonna take this moment to push and promote me, fam. I've been doing this shit for decades. Y'all didn't even know. I wasn't aware of what. Look at all of the work I put in, and motherfuckers are still trying to act like they don't know who I. You goddamn right. I'm about to start calling out rappers, telling y'all how I feel about some shit. And then yeah, if you stupid enough to respond, or if you bored enough, or whatever the case, I shouldn't use stupid, right? I'm gonna have to bleep that out, because realistically, I feel a lot of ways about Rick Ross and Ross's music. I don't necessarily feel like stupid is, because I don't think that he's stupid. I don't think a lot of these individuals are stupid. And that's what makes this that much more disappointing when we actually get in depth to have that conversation about just like how the music industry has kind of just become this like predator, right? And how they just prey on, you know, just basically, to the untrained eye, it's just kind of easy to kind of just get swallowed by the industry today and just kind of be manipulated and utilized for whatever agenda they feel like they want to push and promote today, or, whatever the case may be. But that's kind of all that's going on with that. Rick Ross responded. Meek Mill, I believe Meek Mill responded as well. I didn't see his response, but I've been watching enough D1 lives, and he kind of been keeping us up to date with every response and shit. I feel like he did say something like, Meek Mill said something along the lines of like, yeah, he basically just doubled down on it. Like, that's kind of just what we do. Once again, what did you? I don't expect anything more out of Rick Ross and Meek Mills at this point. Personally, I'm not even looking forward to their album. Like I said, I don't know what Meek Mill is doing at this point. I see pictures of them. Rick Ross still look like he gaining weight. Meek Mill look like he losing weight. I don't know what these niggas is on right now, bro. I don't, bro. So this the thing, right? He definitely also mentioned Jim Jones. I don't really feel like there's much that we need to say about Jim Jones, as far as I feel like we have enough, YouTube videos and Love and Hip Hop archives to kind of get a gist of, who and where Jim Jones is and where he's from. I mean, listen, obviously, salute to Harlem. I got mad love for Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I spent a lot of time out there personally. I've never seen Jim Jones in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that to try to discredit or insinuate that Jim Jones is not or doesn't, partake in the community. this is the whole thing, right? Obviously, D1 went on Sway to make a point about, three individuals, right? He mentioned Jim Jones, he mentioned Rick Ross, he mentioned Meek Mill. Obviously, these three individuals are entitled to respond however they feel fit. Rick Ross, yeah, obviously he responded in Rick Ross fashion, made a mockery out of the situation. It's kind of what Rick Ross does. He makes a mockery out of things, right? But this response by Jim Jones, I'm not even gonna hold you, man. I literally just seen it. Like I said, D1's been doing a good job of kind of keeping at any moment now. I'm waiting for uh, the IG live notification. He's been going live to basically, kind of respond to every response, basically. And he just posted this clip of Jim Jones. Jim Jones was on Sway the other day. I seen this shit on my, on the timeline. I scrolled right by it. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, I'm not interested in a Jim Jones interview or Sway freestyle at this point. We at the end of the year. I feel like I got enough freestyles. Like, I don't really need another freestyle for the rest of 2023, right? And it's damn sure not gonna be a Jim Jones freestyle. I say all that to say this. I couldn't be more disgusted with the Jim Jones response, fam. Jim Jones, man, drop the stick, fam. At this point, you got your shit off against Pusha T. We saluted it and we respected it. We said, you know what? Push sent some shots. He sent some shots back. You know what I mean? They kept it on the microphone. They kept it hip hop. They kept it for the most part respectful, right? They kept the gloves on. Like, you could fight, but you could, you know what I'm saying? We could still keep the gloves on. We don't have to necessarily see bloodshed here. I'm not really sure why he's going the tough guy route with an artist who literally doesn't even use profanity in any of his lyrics. I don't think there's not one curse word. Understand what I'm saying here. We're dealing with an individual who doesn't even curse in their lyrics. There's no curse words in D1's catalog, fam. You about to sing your what he said? Do I gotta pull this up? I'm actually in the editing room floor, and I hate when I have to break audio and like insert file. I definitely had an eventful. I'm literally off of no sleep, by the way. Pretty much had to stay up all night trying to figure out. I had a whole troubleshooting issue, wipe my whole laptop out, all type of shit, fam. I lost everything and got it right back though. Shout out to Staples. You know what I'm saying? Had to get up real early, get that flash drive real quick, and get to work. You feel me? I see this response, Jim Jones. Let me pull this up real quick, man.
I was auditioning for this TV series, and I went in, and I made it to.
Well, that's not it. Pardon self. That was Lala. Why is my son posting? Oh no, he liked. Okay, got it. Well, why is my son liking Lala's post? What the fuck is going on? My son, I already did. My son is actually another one of those individuals who kind of, what I'm saying? Him and D1 basically are kind of they do similar things, what I'm saying, as far as, calling out individuals and, using their social media platforms to kind of basically, I mean, it's basically their version of it's their podcast, essentially, right? These posts. So this is the Jim Jones response. Let me hear this shit.
Do a lot for the people. Mm-hmm. He talked about lyrics. I don't care about none of that. Okay. In real life, I do a lot for the people. Miss me with the rhetoric about what I do in my music. I get money off my music. Don't tell me how to make my dollars. You gotta watch whose names you mentioning out here. Mm-hmm. You heard? Yeah. Because my little cousin might not like how you mention my name. Mm. You heard? And then he might want to slap a dread out your head just because he don't understand that you using my name for fame, and he don't understand that. Yeah.
I'm gonna cut him off frequently throughout this. I can't really sit through this whole thing in one take. Like I said, once again, with you're saying this, I have no issue with what Jim Jones is saying if he's saying it to a member of the Crips. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep this energy for the ops, my boy. Like you, all right. You want to be what you trying to get the Guinness Book World Record for the most. You know what I'm saying? The longest lasting blood from Harlem that fought all of the Dipset fights. You on Flex? You crying, telling horror stories about. I promise you, I had no plans on even adding this to the audio, right? But like I said, I seen this. You hear it? Do y'all hear this? Hold on, let me.
Understand that. Yeah. There's a certain way to go about
I just don't understand like what Jim Jones is trying to like present to the masses, fam. Like, what exactly are we getting when we get Jim Jones today? Are you an artist? Are you a television guy? Like, what exactly is it? Are you a gangbanger first? What title do we put before we put? Because, like I said, once again, you're talking about your little cousin might feel like he might want to slap something. D1 is making music to try to keep your little cousin from ending up in that predicament, bro. This is the craziest. I mean, the contradiction here is this is exactly what his point was, is basically what I'm saying, right? I'm looking forward to hearing the D1 response at this point. At this point, fam, it's looking like we about to get a J with we we gonna have to get another J50 Wheezy or something at this point. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a, Jimmy, Ricky, Meezy. I don't know. I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? And especially considering the fact that we got so much other things that I feel like I don't really see nobody getting upset when other things is going on where we clearly need to be upset. You know what I'm saying? Why you have all this energy for this for D1? But let's keep the rhetoric going.
that. Yeah. There's a certain way to go about certain things when you're using certain people's name. When you do certain things, there's a reaction for every action.
What's the best way?
It's out now. There ain't no best way to have a conversation. He got to see me when he see me now.
I'm gonna cut him off again, because like I said, at this point, fam, it's literally comical at this point. And realistically, fam, Tracy G is sitting there, Sway, Heather B. Like I said, once again, these are all people. They fuck with D1 heavy, right? Just like I fuck with D1, I fuck with his music from a distance. They actually know and met this brother, and we see what the interaction is when he's on the show, and that's kind of like. So, I say all that to say this. They sitting there and they kind of uncomfortable. Sway tried to grab the steering wheel a few times. Jim Jones was hell bent on making this, statement that he's still a member of the Bloods going into 2024, fam. I'm just saying, fam, we didn't really see this side of you when True Life was outside on his bully, fam. Where was this energy? Let's continue with the dialogue. Like I said, once again, D1, man, this is a moment he probably's been waiting for, low key, if I'm being honest, fam. Like, it's about time people start. Now they gonna know who he is.
It's out now. There ain't no best way to have a conversation. He got to see me when he see me now.
Okay.
You heard?
If he reached out,
he had the chance. He could have reached out. That avenue of talking to me is out. That's out. You heard? I had the same conversation with Farrakhan. How did that go? He summoned me. For saying his name. Oh, okay. Yeah. You did?
Okay, once again, we gotta cut him off because he tried to throw Farrakhan in there to try to kind of justify him having to turn up and become a gangster and put the red bandana on to beat up D1, who was a teacher, by the way. Christian rapper D1 doesn't curse in his lyrics, right? So he's trying to use Farrakhan somehow as a parallel, fam. You ain't no Farrakhan, fam. That's a false equivalent. This is not the equivalent of, you should not say Farrakhan's name at all, fam. Look at how you carry and present yourself. And I'm pretty sure that Farrakhan, he might summons you again after he see this, fam. Let's continue with the dialogue.
If you know now what you're talking about, young man, let me school you to what you're doing. Well, yeah, it is music. So in a bit of music, you do get, you do get what you get, you heard? But we're still in the entertainment business. But miss me with the bullshit, you heard? When you see me, keep your hand down, you heard? Where you from, New Orleans?
Wait,
New Orleans. Don't play with me like that. People from New Orleans already called me, you heard? You preacher, get out of here. I'm told too. What was that, King? He told? Yeah, he told. So we ain't gonna get into that. I just want to hear him up. Will you snap on him?
See, this is where, and Sway, salute to Sway, man. Air horn for Sway. You know what I'm saying? God damn it. Just cuz, man. Let me get an air horn for Sway real quick. Because Sway, obviously, you know what I'm saying, is a legend, veteran. Like, Sway, he kind of had to sit there and, you know, figure out how to just kind of pivot and get through that situation. Realistically, fam, Sway is a crafty veteran, and he could have turned that conversation and made it uncomfortable for Jim Jones in there, like I would have done. And if you notice, I don't really know who this other guy is that's sitting in there with Jim Jones. I don't know. This is probably another blood member or something. He might be from 127th. I don't know. Shout out to Harlem. But I never seen this brother. Never heard his music. Whatever the case may be, he basically said something. He just said that D1 is a snitch. He told, right? He told. He told. He actually spoke about this in you know what I'm saying, some certain records that he put out. Like, basically, like I said, this has been in his music. So this is not really anything that I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not really sure what he's referring to exactly though. Like, I ain't really know that he really, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure exactly what he told or who he told on. I don't really know the ins and outs of D1's legalities, right? I got my own legalities to deal with. I fuck with the music, right? And that's kind of as far as I go with that, right? But Jim Jones, I'm pretty sure, am I not mistaken? Wasn't Jim Jones' name just getting thrown around in some goddamn paperwork on Clubhouse or something crazy like this? Whack 100, they had the whole goddamn docket on there, and motherfuckers was calling up, and it was a whole thing, right? And that's probably why he looked at his man just now and said, "Yeah, we're not gonna even go there." Cause realistically, fam, you don't qualify to speak on no street shit. That's the real truth about this situation. So it's kind of just comical to see. Let's continue with the dialogue. Let me try to get through this here, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, no, we got other things we could go. But listen, I'll say this. He look like he sell true sticks on 2/5 by the 4 train. Come on, let's not do that. Come on, Jim.
Sway not with it.
No, but listen, what I'm saying is, I'm glad you addressed it. Bro, he's not. Yeah, bro, let's not even talk about him. I don't even know him. Let's move on. I don't really care about him. He's a figment of my imagination. Well, let me say this. People reprimanded for less. I promise you. Yeah, niggas will wrinkle your shirt for way less than that. Yeah. I will say he's been putting in work for years. Yeah, and he's been all over the country. Obviously not working for him because he's using other people's name. If he was doing something from his heart, he shouldn't use nobody else's name. If you've been outside doing that work,
that sounds absolutely insane. Coming from a guy whose name is not even a name of his own. Jim Jones, didn't you take that whole identity, that whole moniker, sir? Somebody please, like, I'm not the biggest movie buff here, right? One of them white false prophet hero movies, fam. All of these motherfuckers were Scarface. I still ain't watched Scarface, fam. That's a whole fact. The Godfather, none of it. I will watch Malcolm X 1,000. I would watch that. I will break the Guinness Book of World Records watching Malcolm X before I watch Scarface. That's a whole fact, right? So I don't really understand, like, how you speaking on somebody and realistically using somebody's name. Every preacher, every sermon I've ever seen, I'm pretty sure that at some point, yeah, there's always a name that you can use to reference to, you know what I'm saying, if you're making an example that, you know, is parallel with the point that you're trying to make, right? Jim Jones, like I just said, we don't do we need to do a lyrical breakdown and do a deep dive of some Jim Jones lyrics right now and all of the shit that you've said over the years that didn't add up? So again, once again, like, I just don't understand why the energy is so aggressive when obviously this is coming from an individual who's probably the least, you know what I'm saying? The least aggressive rapper of all time and shit.
That's his. I don't want to go back and forth. I just want y'all to know he's done work. He does work in a different area. All right, keep doing work. You heard? Okay. leave me out of that. You heard? I promise you, leave me out of that. I'm scared for anybody that bothers me. I don't want no problem. I don't want no drama. I don't want you to mention my name because I don't want no drama. I don't want to get attitude because you mentioned my name for no reason. I don't even want to get into that. Okay. I start glitching and shit like that. You heard? You got me very upset about this, bro. Let me know what you do besides preaching to the people, bro. You heard? When you want to do something positive and do something for the people instead of talking, holla.
That's ridiculous. He didn't even believe that last part of it. You know what I'm saying? Really, what it comes down to is D1 made a valid point, fam. And obviously, when you see people react in a certain way, maybe we need to, you know what I'm saying, delve in just a little further here to what exactly is being said. Disappointed in Jim Jones. Like I said, he was never going to make my top 50 list anyway. He probably won't make my top 100 now. You know what I'm saying? After this, you know what I'm saying? D1 has definitely been out here putting in work. I think it's just ignorant. It's silly to try to ignore the fact that, once again, especially considering the fact that, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It just makes that conversation just that much more interesting, man. And we have the tangible proof, right? Because a lot of times we just hear these things about, oh, why is it that we don't get, or, there is positive music out there. You just have to go find it, right? Fam, you come on the microphone and you try to go against the status quo, they are going to try to get you out of the way, fam, by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Harlem once again. Yeah. Listen, man, praise and condolences to everybody involved, man. Salute to D1 once again, my guy. Yeah, man, and just drop that album on these niggas, man. He was talking about he had something he was holding on to. Like, yeah, let it loose, fam. Empty the clip on these niggas, bro. Because at the end of the day, fam, that's clearly what they are going to do to us. You know what I'm saying? In the long run, you know, clips is getting emptied, fam. We listen to enough Rick Ross and Meek Mill and shit. I am going to tune into this album, by the way, because I do want to hear kind of like what's going on with them, right? Um, Yeah, so that's D1 and Rick Ross. They might do it. Should they do a verses? They might have to just do like a verses at this point. That might be the verses to kind of get verses back going again and shit. D1 versus Ricky Rose. Honestly, in all seriousness, who would win that though? So for me, and as far as my point of view, I feel like I know for a fact D1 got 10. Like, I'm just saying, a lot of people might not know some of these shits, but I know he got 10 for a fact. He definitely got 10. You feel me? I don't know though. It's kind of be David versus Goliath, man. It's gonna be, you know, two completely different approaches to the music, man, and really ultimately to life. Ayo, check this out, man. I feel like I've been trying to I spent about 40 minutes on that D1 Rick Ross shit just because like I said, man, you know, I don't know, man. I'm as a podcaster, everybody can't go to E.B.C.G. You already know Will Maddie TV. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this, but in all reality, I'm still new to this in the sense that the E.B.C.G podcast, the brand it's kind of like I'm just kind of getting started with that, right? Obviously, when you hear me on the microphone, when you listen back to the episodes, and I kind of keep y'all captivated from start to finish. Shout out to all of the viewership, by the way. Um, Definitely on Good Pods now. Salute to Good Pods. You know what I'm saying? Apple Podcasts, obviously. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, obviously. Just to name a few. You know what I'm saying? iHeart. You know what I'm saying? Podcast and shit. Amazon. Salute. I'm just saying, when you type E.B.C.G in, you could Google me now, is all I'm saying. Joe Budden, I just feel like, yeah, absolutely. You say Joe Budden, you gotta drop a bomb, because I'm not gonna hold you, man. Joe Budden definitely kind of, man, I feel like for like the past month or so, man, this guy just keeps figuring out a way to, I don't know, man, just he's just always the most relevant person on the internet when it's all said and done somehow, right? The way that he's able to kind of, so let me be more specific here. It's been a lot going on, and it's not really, at this point, I'm starting to feel like, I don't know, man. It might not be safe in these podcast streets. You feel me? Like, I'm sitting here. I just gave y'all an episode 3 days ago. Literally 3 days ago, fam. I came back 3 days later, right? With another shit. And I'm saying maybe I need to slow down, is what I'm saying. Maybe I need to take a step back, go on vacation or something, and just kind of let things because it's not safe in these podcast streets right now. It's not, bro. When we got the number one podcaster, Joe Budden, I'm just saying, man, if it could happen to him, it could happen to anyone. I don't know if it's safe outside. I'm being facetious. I am. And I'm just being around the but realistically, fam, I'm not really sure how to even really approach this topic because at the end of the day, how do you approach something? I mean, Joe Budden was the one who got approached here. Let's be clear. Bear Mace, strip clubs, I mean, viral videos. It's kind of a movie right now with this guy. Joe Budden obviously is a rapper who turned into a podcaster and became more relevant in his second career than I mean at this point. I mean Joe Budden as a rapper is really just an afterthought now. I mean, right? He's made it clear that he's moved on from rap. He's moved on from that life and basically all of the activities that come with it, right? One would assume, but according to, well, not according to, but based on this last recent incident that we just seen, Joe Budden getting approached at a strip club or outside of a club, right? While he was smoking a cigarette, obviously we got Caesar Pena, flipping New Jersey. That's obviously the individual who was involved in a series of real estate fraud scam allegations, right? Emphasis on allegations because, like I said, I do truly feel like, especially when you're in a position to be like, for a fact people are listening to you basically, and you're on a public platform. I feel like, yeah, you kind of do have to be, you know, if you're not going to be responsible, you're going to be held accountable at the end of the day for your words and the things that you're saying. And I do feel like, I don't know, man, Joe Budden, he kind of been putting on a clinic, as he would say, as far as showing podcasters how to kind of navigate through this podcast shit. But at the same time, we definitely recognize your errors as well, sir. And unfortunately, and you my guy, Joe Budden is that guy, bro. When it comes to this microphone and this podcast shit, I've been watching. I've been watching for too long, taking notes for too long, fam. He gets better every episode. He does. There's no denying it. All I'm saying is this: nobody's flawless. And I mean, clearly, there's certain things that, this man has said on the microphone that, may have ruffled some feathers. People may have felt a certain type of way. We don't really need to harp and dwell on that. He was approached by, allegedly the brother of, Caesar Pena, who obviously is going through what he's going through with that whole situation. Joe Budden obviously being a podcaster, doing 2 podcasts a week, right? I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I kind of see how, I guess I understand it. Like I said, I just dropped my shit 3 days ago. I don't think y'all doing a podcast every 3 days. And all I'm saying is this. Yeah. I guess there's times, it's points and there's moments. It's kind of like, in Super Mario, you get a little mushroom in you and you have that little lifespan, but eventually you run into one of them little brown things on the floor. What were those things on the floor? What did you even call those? There was no name for those. You just stepped on them shits. Why did they have us stepping on anyway? I feel like there was a little, anyway, subtle message there, but I digress. Joe Budden, lucky he ain't get stepped on, god damn it, because he got pressed, right? They pressed buttons. Pressing buttons is hilarious, by the way. That was definitely the title for one of his newest episodes. Pressing buttons, man. It wasn't really nothing crazy. And, basically he got approached by this dude and, he had the phone, the camera basically shows Joe standing outside of a club with a young lady who we don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. Like I said, I kind of stay away and stay out of people's personal. I'm kind of just like a fan of the podcast. So I focus on the podcast and that's it. I ain't even really, so whatever that was, or whatever whoever that was, that's kind of irrelevant to me. What happened was he had a cigarette. He ended up damn near. He put the cigarette out in his pocket, fam. Yeah. He put a lit cigarette in his pocket. I'm talking about like nobody has this viral thing down to a science like Joe Budden, fam. Who else is going viral for putting a lit cigarette in their pocket, fam, in the middle of basically what could have been a physical altercation. So clearly that should have been a sign, right? That you kind of hot right now, fam. You might want to not just go over there right now or today. You might want to just chill a little bit, my boy. Stay in the crib a little bit, watch some Netflix, work on your pod skills. I don't know, man. You number one, but at the end of the day, we all could use some work. Sit down and just chill for a minute, man. Do some homework, whatever it is, fam. Keep yourself out of harm's way at the end of the day, fam. You already got approached by one dude that people are saying is Caesar's brother. At this point, I guess we can confirm. Is that confirmed? That this is Caesar, that this was his brother or one of his affiliates, if not his brother. Maybe one of his brother's affiliates, right? Maybe his brother was standing there too. I don't know. They approached him and allegedly they had bear mace. I'm not really sure what the bear mace is about. Like, I've never really even heard of that. Like, y'all going to press somebody, a podcaster, y'all bringing bear mace? Caesar is the one that looked like a goddamn grizzly bear, fam. He the one that he might weigh the same. I just don't understand what the bear mace was for. Whatever the case may be, nothing really, took place. We kind of just seen that video. And, obviously Joe Budden comes to the podcast and what does he do? He reacts to everything and all things that are related to Joe Budden, right? As he always does. And we appreciate this. We do. And I might have got this. I might have took that part of my podcast and that formula, that blueprint. I'm gonna credit Joe Budden with that, right? Because we have not seen another individual basically sit and bask in their own kind of just basically just every and anything that's going on in their personal life basically kind of becomes a part of the show, right? So yeah. So that was kind of that first situation. All right, so we not really thinking nothing of it. All right, they just wanted to kind of make a little message. Maybe they just wanted him to come back on the podcast and talk about it, fam. So they could sit around and giggle in the house while they listen to this shit, right? Clearly there was more to come. And that, didn't turn into a physical altercation, but unfortunately and allegedly, because I already am going through legal situations, fam, I do not need any more legalities on my plate. My legalities, I'm not even saying it right. My legal plate though, my case plate, like my shit is full right now, fam. I need no more cases in my plate right now, fam. So all of this shit is alleged, right? As far as I'm concerned. And honestly, there hasn't even really been a video release for the second incident. And what I'm referring to with the second incident is basically a physical altercation that occurred at another club, I believe. I'm not really sure where this took place. I'm not that invested. Um, I believe it was inside or outside of another strip club or whatever the case may be, where a man walked up on Joe. It was definitely in a strip club because I remember the story now. He basically was like he was in there tossing up. You know what I'm saying? He was in there dolly this time. No female counterpart. Just Joe in the strip club with a stack of ones, living it up, fam. After you just got approached and went viral, you know what I'm saying? You saying different things about different people. It's just a lot of enemies out here right now for you that you probably don't want to just be dolly on a Saturday night. Whatever the case may be, he wanted to let his nuts hang. He was feeling himself, fam. He said, look, he said he had his Uggs on, fam, whatever that means, right? Because I've never personally wore a pair of Uggs. So I'm not really sure how or what that means in a situation like that. But once again, we ain't see the video yet, fam. We heard the story though. And the way the story go is that they ran down on Joe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They definitely cocked it back. You know what I'm saying? Pause. They ain't cock it back. Let me not do that. Hold on. That could be misinterpreted right there. He definitely got cold cocked. You know what I'm saying? They definitely, yeah, they put hands on him, is what they did, and according to him, he got hit one time in the face by a dude that ran up on him with a mask. He said at that point that turned into a scuffle. He said that it was slippery because it was alcohol on the floor. I'm not even sure. So he basically was trying to paint a picture like, it was too slippery. I couldn't really even stand on my own feet maybe your legs was wobbled, fam. Your knees might have got buckled from that right hand when the man cocked back and caught you with one. That might really be. You couldn't stand up. It was slippery. He didn't slip when he threw that punch, did he? So, listen, the story, I didn't really, like I said, once again, we're not here to choose a side here. This is not FanDuel. There's no money line for this. I don't really care who won or lost the fight. I do want to see the video, though. I'm not going to hold you. Because we never really seen Joe in a, we've never really seen him in an actual fight. You know what I'm saying? We've only heard and kind of, he's like the best storyteller in the world and shit. So he'll sit there and you'll tell a story and he'll actually have you believe in some shit. But in all reality, there's a video of this and I want to see that shit. Queen's Flip is talking about he was trying to buy the video. I'm sure this video is going to surface though. As I take another hit of this essential water, pardon sir. Yeah, nah, absolutely. Joe is too viral right now, man. Joe too viral right now, man. I'm not really sure, but basically, after that situation happened, obviously, this is that different age where, people kind of come on Instagram and they kind of play the Blues Clues thing where they leave little clues and hints on stories and different. So you go piece all of the different pages and shit together to find out where this leads to, and basically the internet gonna be the internet, and everything kind of got traced back to Tax Stone. It's basically what's being what they're saying here, yeah, is that Tax Stone called the hit, literally called the hit, you know what I'm saying, and got Joe Budden hit upside the goddamn head, fam. He did this shit from, whatever facility that he's currently stationed in. Obviously, Tax Stone and Joe Budden have been having an ongoing kind of, feud slash, disagreement. Obviously, there's that infamous clip of Joe Budden on Tax Stone's podcast, in the embryonic stages of the podcast. That might have been Tax Stone's first episode, fam. Right before his shit took off. And Joe Budden kind of sat there and Tax Stone, obviously, if you've seen the clip, he didn't really appreciate the way that Joe Budden, like, he didn't really feel like he was taking his platform seriously. That kind of, manifested into, basically a little situation on air. Joe ended up walking off the show, and ever since then, it's kind of been a little rocky between Tax Stone and Joe Budden. Obviously, Tax Stone ended up in his situation that he's currently in, which is prison. Joe Budden has kind of been going back and forth with Tax Stone somehow. Tax Stone is still going back and forth with dudes from prison, fam. He's still, you know what I'm saying, basically keeping the same energy that got him in there. Basically what he's doing, and I couldn't be more disappointed in Tax Stone, honestly, bro. Because I just feel like at this point, my nigga, you took your L, my nigga. You took a big L at the end of the day. There's no more, like, there's not really anything that I don't even understand this street logic is what I'm saying, bro. Like, realistically, fam, you took a L. Go sit your ass down, do your bid, and shut up now, bro. You took a L, my boy. You took a L. You blew a bag, and you talk. And listen, this is coming from a nigga who literally just walked away from. As a matter of fact, as a matter of fact, I walked away from 2 bags. Realistically, fam, my last 2 bags that I was getting on a consistent basis, I walked away from both of them shits, fam. A bag is not enough to keep me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, once again, fam, if it don't make sense, it can't make dollars, fam. Tax Stone was in a position where he was about to make a lot of dollars, but then he went and did something that just don't make sense. So sometimes it's in reverse. So yeah, man. Obviously he's in prison. I'm not really sure how long did he get. Was it 15 years or something? It's not gonna be no more podcasting at 15 years from now. I know that much, man. At that point, we're gonna have to pivot, and it's gonna be a whole nother thing. We might have to be on some, like, who knows what it's gonna be at that point, right? It might be drones, fucking, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows, man? We might all be in Pluto or some shit, right? Podcasting from Pluto. You know, So yeah. I say all that to say this. Joe Budden, obviously, he said some things on his podcast. Listen, man, I don't really feel the need to repeat any of these things that he said. Obviously, if you following along, if you know the situation, you heard the episode, you heard what he was saying about Taxstone. And at the end of the day, one can argue, all right, maybe he felt like enough was enough. You still talking crazy about me and you in the situation you in. Hold on, let me just put you in your place real quick, fam, and just remind you of basically what's going on right now and what this situation actually is. And that's kind of what he did. He had some things to say about Tax Stone, man, that I'm pretty sure that Tax Stone didn't appreciate while he was in the yard sitting there and, you know what I'm saying, waiting for next on the basketball court and shit. Motherfuckers all listening and shit. They probably, who knows, that the JBP might be the number one listen to. They might all be in that prison listening to that shit. He probably had to hear that shit all goddamn month. We don't know what he's going through in there, fam. So I say all that to say this, it's kind of hard to pinpoint who your enemy is when you just got so many of them, man. And obviously, at this point, based on the response from on the latest episode of Joe Budden's podcast, it did appear that he confirmed at a certain point that Taxstone, ultimately was the individual who was behind this. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Where would Joe and what would Joe Budden do next, fam? That should be the name of his podcast at this point. Fuck the JBP, money. It should be the where W. We figure that out, but I'm just saying, man. I don't know. Man. So they running down on Joe Budden in the streets. It's looking like Joe Budden back in. This is like rapper Joe Budden again, basically energy. We ain't seen this side of Joe Budden in a long time, fam. Then he went back on there and doubled down and was saying more derogatory things. So we kind of just don't really know how this is all gonna play out. What we will say is this on a serious note. On a serious note, everybody's not playing the same game. And realistically, fam, you might feel like, you know, I don't know, everybody just, I don't know, man. You just can never underestimate anybody's mental state, and that's just really what it comes down to. A nigga sitting in prison after he just blew a bag and basically probably more than likely was gonna be in the exact position that he sees you in, right? I'm just saying, I can't even imagine the amount of bitterness and resentful. What's the word? Resent, or just how resentful, Tax Stone may feel sitting inside prison watching Joe Budden garner all of this success, all of these podcast lists that come out and shit. Joe Budden #1. I'm pretty sure that Tax Stone might feel a little slighted by this, especially when that same dude is going on that podcast to talk crazy about you while you're in your current situation. You probably feeling like, damn, my hands is tied in this situation. All I'm saying is this: there's no telling what that individual may or may not do in that situation. I just feel like, I don't know, man. Like I said, you just can't underestimate somebody else's mental state, and clearly when we're dealing with individuals in that predicament, 9 times out of 10, mentally, you see where I'm going with this? So I don't really want to see this go any further than where it's gone already. It's basically what I'm saying. What I will say is this. Based on the response on that last episode, it doesn't appear that this is going to be over. I'm just saying, man. It just feels like, I don't know, man. Sometimes anybody could be touched at the end of the day, And Pac said that, so it ain't safe in these podcast streets. We already know it ain't safe. It ain't safe outside. Period, man. It's too much shit going on right now. Yeah. So, uh, uh, how do you even get into this, man? Like in all seriousness, I seen this shit, man, and I reluctantly went to the docket for this. But realistically, Soldier Boy calling out J. Cole is docket worthy. It is docket worthy. Soldier Boy calls out J. Cole over recent comments that J. Cole made on Little Yachty's podcast, where he basically kind of spoke on, he spoke on a lot. He spoke on a lot, and it's just so crazy how you can sit down and do a full 2 hour interview, and then here come goofy ass Soldier Boy that want to come and take everything and turn it into some goddamn Soldier Boy content, basically, fam. This is not your moment, bro. And at this point, it's just like you just look crazy now. You just look crazy now. I can't even really beat around the bush with this, fam. This is Soldier Boy talking down on Jermaine Cole, fam. Soldier Boy, Soldier Boy, and J. Cole. I mean, those two names should never ever enter the same sentence with one another. I'm just not even. I'm so. It just doesn't even sound. That don't even roll off my tongue the right way, fam. Soldier Boy and J. Cole. Where? What is first? This is the thing. We clearly know where J. Cole has been and what J. Cole has been up to. He just recently got his first #1 on the billboards, which, you know what, man? We gonna drop a bomb. We gonna drop a bomb for that. Absolutely. First person shooter featuring J. Cole on the Drake album. Obviously, it was J. Cole's official first #1. Personally, I do feel like that's insane. The amount of J. Cole that I listen to, fam, I'm pretty sure that and that's why we gonna talk about we gonna get to this streaming shit in a second, man, and just basically how artists are being, they're robbing these artists in broad daylight. Drake got a song on his album called "Shot 'Em in Daylight." They robbing artists in daylight. Rob 'em in daylight. Rob 'em in daylight. They should do the remix to that and let that go #1, fam. They are robbing these artists in broad daylight, fam. How many streams? 30 million streams, and you get like $100,000 or something crazy like this a year. 1 million streams, and you get four bands for 1 million streams. Then you got to divvy that 4 bands up 4 ways, 9 times out of 10, if not more. This is insanity, bro. Right? So the fact that J. Cole just recently got his first #1, and we've seen the amount of classics and just what he's put into the music, basically. The fact that this is his first #1, obviously there's a conversation that needs to be had about streaming. And we're going to get to that in a second, fam. Right now, we on Soldier Boy and this blasphemous, rant towards J. Cole. So obviously we kind of already know that this is Soldier Boy's bag. And it's kind of like, we get that. We get it. We get it, fam. This is kind of your thing. This is like your stick. This is kind of like your costume that you wear, and this is how you want to present yourself to the masses. The only issue with that, fam, is that Halloween was 2 weeks ago, fam. You still got your costume on, bruh? Take the goddamn Soldier Boy, I invented hip hop, I am the GOAT. Enough with this shit, bro. Enough. You are talking to a legit GOAT of hip hop, fam. Understand that when it's all said and done, you will land nowhere near Jermaine Cole on any hip hop list that's ever created, bro, by anybody. Anybody. That moment you had when you came out, and you kind of came out with something that was just a little bit different at that time, right? It was a lot of kids hurting out here. Okay, that's really what happened. There was a lot of kids that wasn't really sure what they was about to do with their life. So realistically, when you come with some weird, new, innovative shit, all of those kids that are not, basically looking for something to just grasp onto, the you shit kind of just came at that time where all of those kids wanted that, bro. You got a bunch of kids doing this Superman you dance, right? Then you came with the Kiss Me Through the Phone, which I feel like, all right, you started to step your pen up a little bit here. Kiss Me Through the Phone was actually like a bop, right? I could kind of listen to that and vibe to that. You know what I'm saying? So Soldier Boy obviously has talent. We're not trying to discredit him as far as we know what Soldier Boy has accomplished, right? But at the same time, like I said, we also know what J. Cole has accomplished, right? So it's just kind of like, fam, it's just certain things that's just not, we can't really play with everything. When you was doing all that shit with Bow Wow and them, that's cool, fam. That's kind of your lane right there. You could do that and get that off with Bow Wow. Not with J. Cole, though. not with J. Cole. And this is where hip hop kind of gotta. This is where we start having that conversation about y'all kids again. Like maybe like they're not even like smart enough to understand that like you can't say that to him, fam. That's just not. It doesn't make sense. Even your generation of artists are gonna like, and realistically, I feel like he was trying to play off of the whole because obviously J. Cole is one of those artists who kind of, you know, I don't know, man. It's just certain artists that the internet kind of creates narratives basically and kind of, put you in these boxes. And I feel like for a little bit, a little while there, J. Cole was definitely an artist who the internet, more specifically like the younger generation, they created a narrative about J. Cole and Lil Yachty, who actually did a really, really good job with this interview. I watched the whole thing. It was pretty good. I thought I might have watched it twice actually. It was really, really good actually. He asked, he knows what he's doing. He asked good questions, and I feel like they alluded to this during the interview. I feel like this is actually what got him to make this statement that he made about Soldier Boy, which was basically like, how did you feel, during that period where they were kind of calling J. Cole a boring rapper, and he kind of just flipped it and basically said like, yeah, nah. I remember I had my moment where I kind of didn't understand certain things about hip hop. Then he obviously referenced Soldier Boy and that era, right? But then he came back and he cleaned it up, right? And realistically, fam, I don't care if he said Soldier Boy told Soldier Boy to eat a dick, fam. I don't really care what he said, fam. He's justified. He earned the right to talk about Soldier Boy, fam. Soldier Boy, you did not earn the right to talk about J. Cole and a lot of other people, fam. Stick to the Bow Wow jokes, man. And I'm not gonna hold you. That Ice-T shit was pretty fucking hilarious as well. I'm not gonna hold you, fam. You could talk about Ice-T and Bow Wow. Those are the only two people. And any other time, obviously he wants to be the first. I was the first artist to that whole thing. You could have that, fam. Nobody cares and nobody believes you, but you could have that too, fam. Leave J. Cole alone, fam. That's it. That's all I have on that. This is the 50th year of hip hop. We ain't even really getting hip hop this year. J. Cole gave us the best goddamn hip hop verse of the year, fam. Facts. We don't care about Soldier Boy stats right now. We don't. I don't. I don't. I don't care about Kiss Me Through the Phone. I don't care about you. I don't care about you. I don't care about you or you. You see what I did there? That's called hip hop, fam. Yeah. I got it in me too. You know what I'm saying? That was a little double entendre. You. Fam. It's like, come on, man. He's the only one still doing it. We need to protect J. Cole at all costs, is what I'm saying, bro. This is crazy out here. We don't have any. Kendrick about to like he damn near retire. I don't know what's up with boy. I think Kendrick is really done, low key. Mr. Morale, and we waited another year. I thought, all right, he needed to just get this out. Shout out to Kendrick. Shout out to hip hop. Shout out to J. Cole, Soldier Boy, chill, my boy. And then even Nicki Minaj had to chime in, which is crazy, right? Nicki don't even really. We never really see Nicki. The narrative about Nicki is that she be against artists and shit, right? More specifically the female artists, obviously, right? They be talking about how like she don't really be trying to like she kind of keep her foot on their necks, basically behind closed doors. There's different things that take place, different tactics, not wanting to collaborate and shit. She definitely came to the defense of J. Cole, and I was very surprised to see it because, in all honesty and in all reality, Nicki Minaj is one of those artists who I just feel like, man, I just see I mean, it's actually painful. It is. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's painful. The thought of just we're never gonna get that fully evolved Nicki Minaj that I feel like we've been robbed of that, fam. And by we, I'm not talking about. I'm not a barb, right? So let me not we this, right? Because the barbs, listen, that's a whole nother thing within itself, fam. I'm not necessarily on that level of fandom, but I do appreciate Nicki's talent, and I do feel like she has, because it's not like her career is over, because it's not, right? The potential she has for, I just feel like we don't. Where's the we didn't get another. I just feel like it's like Pusha T basically, where it's just like You just kept doing this the whole time. You didn't even. It's kind of like you found a formula, you got your barbs, and you just gonna keep feeding them because you know they gonna just keep eating this shit up. But in all reality, Nikki, we want to see some. In other words, can we get a Nicki J Cole? Where's the Nicki J Cole track? Is basically what I'm trying to talk about. Let me talk. Let me talk my shit because I'm trying to beat around the bush too much, man. Can we get some Nicki J Cole in? Since you want to jump in and chime in, and we ain't gonna get the J Cole Kendrick at this point, obviously. Right? We just heard him clear that whole thing up, and he couldn't have sound. I've never seen him least interested in that. That was the least interested J. Cole during the interview that I've seen, bro. And I'm just gonna be honest, and that's what kind of personally showed me that that album probably is never gonna happen. They talk about everything else. He giving you long answers and shit. When that came up, he kind of was just like, "Yo, fam, that was then. I don't know." But damn, can we get some? I'm just saying, I digress, man. I digress. Nikki chimed in. Nikki chimed in, right? It just crossed my mind like that the idea of why is Nikki, because in all reality, Nikki probably listens to J. Cole music. I'm sure she does. She don't be going home to that Barbie, Starship, all that shit she be feeding the barbs and shit. She want to hear some real shit, fam. She living the real life. You got to navigate through this shit too. She in the Matrix too, fam. She got to travel all. Yeah. You gonna need some J. Cole on the plane from time to time, right? You can't listen to Nikki and you know what I'm saying? And that's not really. So I say all that to say this. I'm sure she connects with that type of music as well. And I just feel like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's opening the door for maybe she low key was trying to give J. Cole a hint there, like, yo, fam, I'm trying to really get in the studio low key, because I don't really have nothing. You know what I'm saying? She might feel a little burnt out over there and might really want to collab at this point. Shout out to Cole, shout out to Nicki, shout out to Soldier Boy, man. I ain't really have much on that other than we gotta protect J. Cole at all costs, man. So if that means we gotta talk some shit about Soldier Boy, if we gotta listen, whatever we gotta do, if we gotta take Soldier Boy to a goddamn clinic and get him mentally evaluated so that we can never run into these issues again. Because even Nikki was on the live stream with him, basically on some like, fam, are you okay, fam? Like this doesn't make sense. This does not make sense. You need to chill, my boy. Soldier Boy, chill, my boy. So Lauren's recent comments send the internet over the hill. That's not it. That's not it. Lauren Hill talked her shit on stage, fam. At a recent show, I'm not really sure what show this was. All I can say is this, and we're gonna get to that in a second. Though, hold on. Let me get my air horn ready now, though. All I know is this, fam. All I know is this. All right. So this is me, right? This is Will Batty TV. This is my perspective on Lauren Hill. I don't give a fuck what she said on stage, my nigga. I don't care, bro. I don't care. The miseducation of Lauren Hill will forever and always be one of the greatest bodies of musical art that we will ever experience in life. Lauren Hill as an artist will continue to be the greatest. Now, this is the thing. Obviously, Lauren Hill has developed a reputation over the years. It might be over the decade at this point. It might she going on like 10 years of this now, where it's kind of like people are like basically like, yo, nah, son, I'm never going to a Lauren Hill show because she be late or she just don't come to the show, or she kind of basically on her own type of time, right? And my thing is this, fam. I just feel like, bro, how unappreciative can you be? How you goddamn unappreciative, spoiled. Like, fam, we got the miseducation of Lauren Hill, fam. Did y'all not hear that album? Press play on the album and just let it play. We were able to get that piece of art, and we will continue to be able to kind of like you know what I'm saying, utilize that and listen to that and enjoy that, fam. All I'm saying is this, fam. She gave us a 101 album. She's a 101 artist. I ex- I fully expect for her to be on her own type of time, fam. You don't create that without, you know what I'm saying, having a different, basically just outlook on life, fam. She probably don't even got a clock in the house, is what I'm saying, fam. she probably living off a whole different frequency. Her shit probably she wake up on, and realistically, I'm on this too now, where it's kind of like realistically, I set the alarm clock or whatever, but I'll be up way before that alarm clock. I kind of just keep track of the time in my. All I'm saying is this, fam. What I'm really saying is this, man. Miss me with the Lauryn Hill slander once again during the 50th year of hip hop, man. I just watched this woman perform at the Yankee Stadium next to Nas, fam. Facts. This is one of the greatest performers of our generation, fam. You will never. And I'm just saying, like, maybe it just wasn't your time. It might not be your time to witness greatness right now. That's the reality of the situation. Hold on. It just wasn't your time to witness this level of greatness yet, fam. Everybody can't go. I went. I definitely went. Yeah, I was able to see Lauryn Hill perform for the first time in my life. She performed a plethora of her records with the Fugees and her, her solo records, obviously. But I mean, they absolutely. She came out and stole the show. Her presence, her aura. She had the beads in her hair. It was just a whole vibe, fam. Obviously, like I'm saying, all I'm saying is this, fam. It's a once in a lifetime experience, fam. That you are blessed to be able to experience this. And if you ain't see it this time, then listen, you just gotta buy another ticket. You know what I'm saying? And just try to catch her on the next show, fam. I don't know what to tell you, fam. So yeah, she basically kind of responded to all of this flack and all of this criticism, and she basically made a statement along the lines of, why don't I just play it though? I'm sitting here talking like I can actually play this. There's no need to do that though. We don't need to do that. We don't need unraveled, unhinged Lauryn Hill because she did seem a little. Listen, they might have been playing with her at the airport or something. She might have been having a rough week, quite like something like how I've been having a rough week with my whole situation with my phone. I done quit my job. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure when my next meal is coming. You feel me? It's just different things that people are dealing with, and we don't know what she was dealing with mentally. And once again, once again, we have to kind of take all that into consideration, right? I'm beating around the bush a lot here. I am. The GOAT spoke, you know what I'm saying? Her presence is a present, fam. I mean, and I agree. I absolutely agree. I witnessed greatness. I witnessed greatness. So there's not really much you can tell me. Not to mention she performed, the very track, the very song, rather, that introduced me, that officially, basically gave me my love for this genre of hip hop, which is If I Ruled the World. And I spoke about that on my episode that I recorded the day before I went to Yankee Stadium and got that performance on a surprise. They didn't even announce she was going to be on the bill. So the fact come on, man. I just was able to I was able to see it, man. She wasn't late for that shit. Come on, man. Run DMC was late. They came on after that. You feel me? I left and shit. I heard that shit. I was on the train and I heard that performance. You feel me? Now everybody talking about Rev Run was late. This is crazy. They pick and choose, but it's all good though. Salute to the queen though, man. That's a whole fact. Yeah. All this, she's late. I hear, I don't want to say no names, but I just be listening to certain responses, like certain people that speak on the whole Lauren hate. Pardon self. Certain individuals who speak on the whole Lauryn Hill is late to the show and all that shit, and people talking about, I'll never go to another show again. Well then, fam, that's your loss at the end of the day, fam. That's not gonna stop me or change my palate in the way I hear the miseducation of Lauryn Hill and shit. You know what I'm saying? The way I hear doo wop. Come on, fam. That's still gonna do what it's supposed to do. You understand what I'm saying? And realistically, if we never get another Lauryn Hill show again, we still got that. We still got that. Salute to Lauryn Hill, man. All hail the queen. Nah, but in all seriousness though, man, I'm about to. So, okay, we are hour and 34 minutes in. Once again, I appreciate you all for tuning in to the Everybody Can't Go podcast. This is episode 47. This is definitely the culmination, the finale of season 2. Episode 48. Well, no, actually, I'm bugging. Episode 48 technically is the last episode of yeah, because it's 24 episodes a season. So 48 would officially be that last episode. So yeah, we still got one more episode to go, baby. So we still rocking season 2. We still here. Season 3 loading. Obviously, like I said, I already let y'all know I'm coming in hot. Season 3. Um, I definitely plan on, taking things to another level, right? And I'll just say that y'all just gonna have to stay tuned though to really fully kind of, you understand what I'm saying? Um, yeah, man. So I definitely I saw something on Facebook and it caught my attention. You know, definitely caught my attention when I read an article in regards to the Kanika Jenkins case that obviously has been ongoing. This took place back in 2017, I believe. I want to say 2017. This Kanika Jenkins rather. This case began, and Kanika Jenkins is obviously, I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with that name at this point. Kanika Jenkins is the young lady uh from Chicago who, her with a group of her friends, there was some type of get together or party or event that took place at the Crown Plaza in Rosemont, you know, um the Crown Plaza Hotel, man. And obviously, ultimately Kanika Jenkins ended up, passing away. She was found in a freezer, and this was a whole mess. It was a whole mess. I actually followed this case very, very closely. Um, very, very closely to the point where I'm actually still in touch with at least one or two people, from Chicago. Like I actually developed relationships because that's just how involved I was with this situation. Not involved as far as hands on, because this took place in Chicago. Once again, I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I've never been to Chicago, but what I'm saying is I was so invested into the case and basically just trying to figure out, it was a whole, it was a mystery. It became a whole thing that kind of consumed the internet. They released footage of, Kanika kind of stumbling down the hallway, and then there was all of these different theories of, oh well, the footage looks like it's manipulated, and you had a bunch of those videos, like at least 100 of those, where people are telling you, no, no, look, you can see the edit happening right here, and that it was just a whole goddamn long, drawn out thing, and ultimately we didn't get any answers at the end of the day. And what it's looking like right now is that we're still not going to get any answers, because apparently Kanika Jenkins, her estate, which is obviously, her family, her immediate family, they have reached a settlement with, the Crown Plaza Hotel, and their security, team, and that hotel and the workers inside of that hotel, they reached an agreement and a settlement. This was done quietly, and this was done basically in a way to keep, the details of the case sealed. In other words, nobody is ever going to really know basically what actually happened to Kanika Jenkins. And it's unfortunate. It is. You had people who basically, kind of put their lives on hold at this time. Different protesters, Jedediah Brown, who obviously, listen, this is the thing, right? Um, I don't really necessarily feel like, he's a victim at the end of the day, right? He didn't really take a loss here. He didn't know Kanika, but I just feel like as an activist, the fact that himself, you had Lamont Record, you had so many different people, man. Obviously, Natora. Shout out to all of these people who kind of basically became the face of that movement, right? And they kind of got things started as far as the protests and basically, trying to fight and seek justice for Kanika Jenkins. And like I said, I was following it for the whole. It was a whole thing. As a matter of fact, even your boy, even I went viral off of some shit that I don't even have nothing to really do with at the end of the day. I was just so invested that I ended up calling one of the Crown Plaza hotels, and yeah, it's on YouTube, man. Video ended up getting like upwards of 30,000 views. I People commenting on the video to this day, like, "Yo, man, that was amazing. We still want to go out there." And apparently, that's up in the air as well because, like I said, I referenced Jedediah Brown, who's a an activist out there in Chicago. Now, is he necessarily the guy for the job when it comes to basically leading a protest or leading a movement? Well, obviously, based on what we've seen take place with this previous effort, obviously one would say maybe probably not, right? Maybe you don't need to be the face of this. You could probably be there and, if you actually genuinely just want to get the justice or whatever the case may be. But obviously, man, this thing turned into a whole, I mean, it got so far removed from basically what the actual goal and what the actual, what we were seeking, which was justice, man. It turned into a whole competition of, it was division and all of these different things that we seen play out. Like I said, there's no need to harp on the negative. I just feel like at this point, I kind of low key, like, if I'm being honest, I never really forgot about Kanika Jenkins, but I kind of like, as far as the justice side of things, I kind of just assumed that at this point, we pretty much wasn't going to ever really get any answers. It's been this long. So obviously now that a settlement has been reached, that kind of just pushes things even further away from that, when documents and, things are sealed. But according to Jedediah, I seen another post where he basically said that, what, this, basically, listen, man, they just arrested Keefe D, you know what I'm saying, for the murder of Tupac all these years later. In other words, clearly, there's still a chance for us to kind of get justice here. So they basically planning on, and by they, I'm only really saying Jedediah because that's the individual who I seen post this on social media on Facebook. 2024, September 2024, which I believe would be the anniversary. I believe this did take place in September. Um, Once again, yeah, man, they planning on going back out there and kind of restarting the protest. So, I mean, listen, man, like I said, I caught wind of this. I definitely wanted to just throw this in there because, like I said, this was something that I was so invested in, man. Rest in peace to Kanika Jenkins, obviously. I do feel like, yeah, do I still want to kind of, I don't know, man. It's going to be hard to get me back on that bandwagon, fam. They led that protest so good though, man. It was such a, it was amazing. It was amazing to see, you know. And even though, they basically failed miserably at what they were trying to do, and obviously, there were so many different things that went into that. We don't want to really get into all of the specifics. Like I said, I already went viral off of this shit. I'm not trying to go viral again. This is the E.B.C.G podcast, man. We not over here trying to go viral off of anybody else's death or any misfortune that took place, right? Yeah, that don't really necessarily. I don't know what you niggas is doing on the internet, by the way. That viral shit ain't really. That shit don't really feel like nothing to. You know what I mean? It's kind of scary, is what I'm saying. Random ass people like typing to you and shit. Family requests details of the case not to be released. So I mean, that's just kind of where it is with that. Hopefully everybody involved is at peace. Obviously, there was a lot of speculation, man. A lot of speculation even before this even came out of basically people being paid off and a lot of different things, man. Uh, and then shortly after that, you seen people kind of abruptly end the protest, and it was just kind of like it started to just look like I don't know, just like something that we wasn't really like we seen this movie before, basically. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, peace, love, and prosperity to everybody involved. Lloyd Banks, Lloyd Banks, Lloyd Banks definitely plans to release a mixtape, um, Cold Corner 3, and he's basically getting ready to, you know, we've seen this done before, obviously. So Lloyd Banks is set to release a mixtape, Cold Corner 3. And what he will be doing is he'll be charging fans $100 for the mixtape. This is not a project that's going to be released to any of the major streaming platforms. This is going to be, you know what I'm saying? Cold Corner, Lloyd Banks, he might be on the corner with the CDs in the trunk, fam, bringing it back to the essence of this shit. Like when you really have to come out of pocket and really approach people to physically get a project, fam. Not to mention, we've seen Nipsey Hussle implement this, business module as well, with his Proud to Pay campaign, that he implemented back when he put out his mixtape. Was it Crenshaw? I believe it was Crenshaw or the Marathon or whatever project that was. But we obviously, seen this done before, and obviously Nipsey Hussle, was ahead of his time. Obviously when it comes to just being innovative and in the music industry, and just we seen all of the different things that he was doing, how he was utilizing the Marathon store, and very, very forward thinking. And to see that Lloyd Banks is now basically implementing the same module, number one, speaks to Nipsey's impact, right? Rest in power, Nip. Obviously, air horn for Nip. Hold on, because that definitely does speak to his impact. And I do feel like, man, if we just was able to kind of see Nip for 10 more years, man, there's no telling what he was getting ready to do in the game. Lloyd Banks doing this, I feel like this is a good idea, just for the simple fact that, obviously we speak about this all the time. We spoke about it a little bit earlier on this episode, and basically just, streaming and numbers and artists basically not getting their full just due, right? How is it that all of these streams only can equate up to this? Like, who's actually sitting and determining and calculating these numbers at the end of the day, right? So I just feel like the fact that Lloyd Banks is doing this, I would just hope that more artists, especially the artists who basically are not making money off of their music, right? Doesn't that sound ridiculous? Because even when they say that, you hear artists say this all the time, bro. Your favorite artists, like music that you listen to every single day. You streaming this shit every day, right? But artists, you'll hear them say often that basically their number one source of income is not coming from music. And to me, it should be the complete opposite, right? Considering the fact that so many people rely upon this music, right? Based upon the amount of streams we see these numbers, we see what these numbers are going to. Like, we talking about upwards of million, billions of streams, man. How is it possible that somebody's making money off of this? Is what I'm saying, right? Companies are being kept, the doors for companies are being kept open based upon or predicated upon how much streams these albums and these projects garner. So how is it that businesses are able to operate off of these numbers, but yet the artist who's responsible for creating the music that's actually creating the business, how is it that they're not benefiting from the music? That makes absolutely no sense to me, right? And obviously, listen, this is an age-old debate. You could talk about this shit till you blue in the face, fam. They not changing nothing up. They not changing nothing up. So, like I said, I feel like to see Lloyd Banks do this move right here, obviously Nipsey being the first to say like, yo, hold on, fam. What we gonna do is we gonna charge the artists or the fans more, and if we sell less, it don't matter because less is more, fam. When we charging $100 for this shit, fam, I got my loyal fans that I know for a fact they gonna rock with me. And what Nipsey did, I feel like he did both. So he allowed his music to go on the streaming platforms, but then he also launched the Proud to Pay campaign. So it was kind of like one of those things where like your really, really super loyal fan base, definitely is going to tap in. And then Jay-Z at that time, I'm pretty sure that obviously we kind of know that Jay-Z, yeah, we would expect for Jay-Z to be the guy that sees something like that and basically salute it. So what he did was he went and he purchased like 100 or 1,000 copies of the album, So obviously, that kind of showed people that there's something there. Basically, this can actually be lucrative for an artist, depending on how loyal your fan base is, right? As far as Lloyd Banks, I don't really know how loyal his fan base is. I would assume that based off of that G Unit run, you know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, man, I'm pretty sure he got a few loyal fans out there, is what I'm saying, right? And we just gonna basically see how this plays out for Lloyd Banks, man. I think it's super, super important though that we see more artists kind of challenge the system at the end of the day. Because fam, like I said, bro, the fact that businesses businesses are being created, how are the artists not being able to, you understand what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And y'all already know that if it don't make sense, it cannot make dollars. And I know that, and y'all know that. Lloyd Banks know that, Nipsey knew that, and hopefully more artists to come will realize that as well. Um, I'm very, very happy that I came and I did this. I am. It's air home for me, man, for coming in. You know what I'm saying? I had to dust my shoulders off, you know what I'm saying? I had to brush off like I said, man, episode 46 is out now. And as a matter of fact, I'm giving y'all snippets still. I still didn't even give y'all all the snippets because y'all know I like to come behind the episode with the snippets. That's kind of my way of like, all right, I'm going to give y'all a day to kind of go watch the episode in full. But in all reality, we live in that day and age where motherfuckers is not sitting to watch nothing in full, fam. If it's not being put in front of your face all day and shit, I know what's going on out here. I know we in a microwave era. Yeah. So you gotta go and hit the story sometimes when you don't want to. I be tired as hell, man. Low key, I quit my job and shit, so I kind of got time now. I got time now, fam. So it's kind of like I actually hit my limit though of the amount of people I tag in my shits because y'all know I'm tagging every story I post, right? Shout out to Ian Ish. You know what I'm saying? Your favorite tomboy, Tracy G. I see you sway in the morning. Hold on, air home for Tracy G. I don't know if y'all actually watch the stories or listen to the podcast, but I see y'all faces in the stories, so I'm gonna keep tagging y'all in a bit. I'm just gonna assume the best. You understand what I'm saying? It's definitely DM me though. It wasn't like a long motivational speech DM or nothing like that, but it was definitely. I feel like he gave me like a little salute. You know what I'm saying? A little salute emoji. I appreciated that. Shout out to Ish from the JBC. Y'all could have been anywhere else, but y'all here with me, man. And I appreciate y'all as well. Episode 47, and it was kind of swell. Pause. 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 It rhymed, and it was the first thing that came to my mind. Um, I'm trying to see if there's anything low key I want to hit y'all with, before I get out of here. I think the Lloyd Banks shit is dope. I might cop this shit. Realistically though, I'm not. If I'm being honest, I don't got that 100 right now, my nigga. I ain't gonna hold you. I just told y'all I just quit a job and shit, right? I might, you know what I'm saying? That next $100 I touch, I'm gonna have to flip that a couple times before I start just blowing my money on albums and shit. I got stock shit to look at. It's work to do. It's work to do. It's work to do, and I have the will to do it. So with all that being said, um, yeah, man, I just feel really, really, just looking forward to what's next, man. Just looking forward to what's next. Looking forward to putting things behind me that are basically not really supposed to be ahead of me. Um, in this case right now, I'm not gonna hold you, man. They tried to give me two pleas, man. I said, hold on, fam. I might end up in the Tory Lane situation though. Didn't they give him a plea deal as well? The Clippers are definitely 0-2 as I get ready to end this episode. I just wanted to throw that out there. With the new acquisition of James Harden and shit. James Harden like to hop around, but it's kind of like, fam, we don't really see your impact though. Like you here now, but it's kind of like, all right, I seen he still got to step back in him a little bit. He definitely was, showing out in that Nets game and shit. But it's just like, I don't know, man. Is James Harden the missing piece for the Clippers to get over the hump? I don't think so. Look at Perk talking about this shit. Shout out to Big Perk, man. That's some Big Perk out here on the. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you, man. UFC 295 pre-fight press conference. 295. What's the main event here? I don't care, bro. John Jones ain't fighting. I'm not watching this shit. I think that's a wrap, y'all. Yeah, man. I think that's a wrap. Episode 47. Yeah. E.B.C.G. podcast, of course. Willmatic TV. You already know. Season 3. Loading. Episode 46 out right now. Episode 47. I'm coming right back, though. I'm spinning on y'all back to back on them. I actually did say that when I was ending my episode. I wasn't serious, though. But somehow I figured out, you know what I mean? I said, hold on, man. Hold on, man. Ain't no excuses, fam. If it's work that need to be done, then God damn it, I got to do it. Nah, check it out, though, man. I'm off this, man. I'm off this. Until the next time, I truly, truly do wish you all peace, love, and prosperity. Willmatic TV is my name, and that is for your clarity. Ladies and gentlemen, until the next time, E.B.C.G. Podcast. 1.